And we're very delighted because we have a very fun, exciting guest. Sabrina, I'm going to let you introduce Kim because you discovered Kim.
Yes.
And
Actually, how we discovered Kim was we had this wonderful guest, one of our first guests.
one of our first guests, Eddie
Yes,
Connor.
Eddie Connor.
Yes, we had Eddie Connor, the soul intuitive on, and Eddie is truly brilliant. I can't say enough about him. I actually had a reading with him last week, and it was extraordinary. I still feel like I'm on another planet, even though I've always been on another planet. But now I seem to have visited too. So Eddie introduced us to our guest.
Yes, and when he introduced us, he said he sent the website of the Infinite Smile Project, and the Infinite Smile Project makes you so happy because you see these wonderful, beautiful wands.
Yeah, we have little toys that we
We
got.
have toys, and you just think this makes you smile, like the amazing.
It makes me
song.
smile.
The amazing song makes you
It
smile.
makes me smile because it matches what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
wearing today.
and I have the gold. So it just is, and I read it and I thought, wow, this is so wonderful that this whole idea of really instilling the idea of philanthropy and kindness into children and doing it in a way that's fun and magical and happy. And so Kim has a wonderful website called The Infinite, and our guest is Kim Downey. And Kim Downey, our guest, has a wonderful website that tells you a lot, and she's going to tell you a lot. But from the website, she also has a blog that she blogs on almost every day. And this was a blog about Robin
We just
Williams.
decided, we read this and we thought that this had to be, we had to start out our introduction with this amazing person. Sabrina's going to read a little something
'Cause I asked Kim
from
Downey,
the blog.
I asked Kim Downey, our guest, I said, what do you think? I said, to me, when I read this, of everything I've heard and learned about Infinite Smile, this sums it up. And she agreed. So this
I would
is
agree.
like, this is what it is. Okay. And this is what Kim wrote.
And this was inspired after the passing of
Yes.
Robin Williams,
It
which
was-
we're all still.
Grieving
Absolutely.
over.
Yes.
Yes. It was from the
Enough said.
August 13th post about Robin Williams. And Kim wrote, I have been asked so many times why I chose to invest time and money into the Infinite Smile Project. Everyone that knows me knows my plate is already incredibly full, and it seems senseless to add more. This is why it makes me incredibly happy. I read that the single most influential thing you can do to create happiness is acts of kindness. I didn't know this when I started, but it makes sense to me now. When I say teaching my kids kindness and making others happy has changed my life, I mean it. I cannot express enough the power acts of kindness, philanthropy, expressions of love and generosity, and connection with all walks of humanity can change one's life. I challenge everyone to try it. Be kind to everyone you meet, connect with strangers, give to as many as you can, rebuild burned bridges, express your emotions, and apologize when necessary. Then throw out a few good things to the universe, and you will see it all comes back tenfold. I promise. That just is beautiful.
So, without further ado, Kim Downey!
Infinite Smile Giver.
The Infinite Smile Project. The Infinite Smile Giver, the Infinite Smile Project. Kim, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
We're delighted that you're here and you drove a long way. And, it's Los Angeles traffic. We applaud anybody that decides to go 2 miles, and you certainly
It's
came
super
a lot.
fun.
And you're down in Orange County.
Yes.
You're in Irvine, right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So the Infinite Smile Project. We've a million things we want to ask you, but let's just start with Infinite Smile, and then we're going to back up and talk a little bit about you because you were an NFL cheerleader, you own a dance company, you're fabulously fun, you're happily married with twinsies,
Yes.
and so talk about the Infinite Smile and where that launched.
Okay. So the Infinite, do you want me to talk about it now?
Oh yeah,
into
let's
it?
go
Okay.
for it. Mhm.
So the Infinite Smile Project, actually, it really wasn't meant to happen. It was sort of one of these things that I just did with my kids. Long and the short was in April of 2013, my then 2.5-year-old, one of the twins, had open heart surgery. And during that time, I mean, it's months and months of preparation and recovery and in and out of the hospital. And during that time, we just witnessed so much kindness and people that some you expected, some you didn't expect, some you knew, some you didn't know well. I mean, my husband's coworkers, my instructors. I mean, anybody and everybody just sort of doing really nice things for us, and even for my kids, and even for my twin, or her twin that was at home by herself, or well, by herself meaning she couldn't go be with her sister. So everybody thought of all of us. So once it rolled around in January, for my birthday, I decided that I wanted to take my girls out and do just kind of acts of kindness for fun. I just made these little wands for them. The Friday night before, we sat around and we packaged everything up, and they helped me, and we made a list of everything that we wanted to do. And so they were almost 3.5 at the time. And at first they just wanted to have the wands and wave them around, play with them. I mean, it looks like a toy, basically.
Sure.
And what happened, though, is we started at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was a full day. And what I found was towards the end of the day that they got it. They understood. And that's what surprised me, was at 3.5, I thought it was going to be sort of a battle to get them to give these away and kind of understand the concept. But we of course, walked them through it, what we were doing and why. But they completely and fully understood it, and they loved it, and they had fun, and they wanted to do more, and they didn't want to stop. So we kind of intermittently would do different things. So we would go to wherever I would take them for the bagel store. Places we would go frequently. And it was kind of interesting because then it kind of turned into the TV show Cheers. Everybody knows your name. You kind of go in there and everybody, hey, how are you doing? And they knew my kid's name, and they would just light up when they saw us. And I just thought, this is a really nice way to live your day. Everywhere you go, people are just happy to see you. And it would start off my day and end my day so well. So we would just kind of do this here and there, and then some local media and people like Eddie got a hold of me, and then when an interview was done or like off air with Eddie, I mean, they would turn around every single time and say, you have to do something with this. Like, do you understand that you need to do something with this? So I thought about it, and I talked to my husband about it, and he's like, Kimberly, really? Like, we really need something else on our plate. So in the end, I just decided, okay, well, let's maybe do a kid's book. And so we talked about that, and then it turned into, I think we really need to make this into a nonprofit. So initially it was just going to be putting sort of like this idea into a book and make it hands-on and interactive with the computer, where the kids get a wand and they can personalize it. But because the ones that we're doing with the book are actually wood, so they could paint it and put stickers on it and make it their own. And then, with a SKU number, go online and enter this number and do a secret message for their friends or cousin or whoever, someone they go to school with, or
That they would give the wand to.
right, that they would give it to, and then they put it in the computer and they would send it to that person. That person would type in the SKU number, and then they could see 5, 6, 7 people long where it went and what it was doing. And so we thought,
it's really like wand it forward.
Exactly, like pay it forward, wand it forward, and
Wave it
really
forward.
Wave
and
it
as
forward,
a child,
yes.
it would be so fascinating because I see how my kids react to books. To open a book and to look at it and then be able to like physically put that into action, to like really say, okay, like these characters are going through and they're handing out these little wands, they're doing this, they're doing that, and then getting one physically and being able to empower them to do something like the story.
And had you always wanted to write a book, or was this
Never.
just completely new, right?
Completely new. I was telling Sabrina, my parents always said you should be a writer when I was younger, and I'm like, I'm terrible at writing, and I just didn't want to, and I don't know why, I just didn't want to, but now as an adult, I kind of enjoy it. So this was sort of a fluke thing. And then as we found people wanted to get involved, and we decided to do the nonprofit. So we patented the idea of the wands interacting with the website and all that type of stuff. And then it's turned into that is actually going to help be a fundraiser in a sense, help fund the Infinite Smile Project, the nonprofit.
So on your website, is there a place where people could go and they can sign up so that they're aware of when the launch happens?
Yes, they can do that. The best way to do that is probably by signing up and subscribing to the blog itself.
And the launch is going to happen September 22nd.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
September 22nd. And so where would they go to the blog?
They would want to go to the website, theinfinitesmile.com.
Theinfinitesmile.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then over at the very top, it says blog, and you can click on that. And on the right-hand side under my picture, there is to subscribe, enter your email address here. And then you enter it there. And then it also has all of our social media handles just below that. So you've got your Twitter, your Instagram, your Facebook. You can click from there. And we're on all those. And then also Facebook, same thing, the Infinite Smile Project on Facebook. I was just telling Sabrina, we've got like over 2,000 followers now.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
It's great.
And
yeah.
on
Very
Instagram,
flattering.
3,000.
And Instagram
Yeah.
over 3,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Facebook, we tend to post a lot of stuff and events as well. But for anything major, it's going to come from the blog and be reposted onto Facebook also.
Okay, so
So
go
those
to
are
the
my
blog.
two probably favorite places to see what's going on.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So
Good.
then, so when you launch, it's not going to be, it's going to be funding for the for the book, right? It's going to be a Kickstarter.
Correct. So for those of you that know what Kickstarter is, or if you don't know, it's essentially a program or website. It's kind of like GoFundMe, where investors can come in and donate $10, $20, $100, whatever they want. So we decided to do a Kickstarter this way and just kind of see what happens. And
so the Kickstarter is what you're launching.
that's what we're launching.
Not the whole kit yet.
No. So
No.
it's
Okay, great.
it's the Kickstarter, and then you can learn all about the book. There's all kinds of illustrations and diagrams and everything to kind of show how the whole process works as far as the book and the wands and interacting with the website. And then in addition to that, we're also doing a kids contest just to make it fun and get more people to kind of really have fun with the whole process. So really it's about the Kickstarter, but we also incorporated a kids kindness contest where they actually submit the last character in our book. So the book's all written, everything's done, but it's sort of like that, that's a question mark where that character is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that character will be one of the lead characters in one of the next series of books.
Right.
Is the whole idea.
So your characters, like you have your characters of books are really going to be teaching the children different attributes of kindness, compassion,
Absolutely.
and philanthropy,
Integrity.
and
So
All
of
those
course
sorts
you
of
like
things.
that people are already saying to you, oh, and then it could be like a cartoon on Saturday morning.
Of course, right,
And there's
yeah.
stuffed
Right,
animals. I mean, the whole fun of the
I
marketing
mean,
of it all.
I
yeah.
can't even tell you the things that have been
And you
around
started this how long ago?
in January of this year.
Okay, so January 2014, and you're on your way.
On our way, but the website even wasn't up until I think end of May.
really.
Okay.
So yeah, so I mean,
Wow.
we're a nonprofit, but that process takes a while. So I mean, we're still, and the patent's still, you know what I mean? So all those things are set and locked in, but it's so new that
So
that's still pending.
I want to come back to Infinite Smile for sure, but let's back up a little bit because you are super busy. You own a dance, not
Company.
studio, dance company. So, and you have franchises. Is that what it is, or just locations?
Just a different location.
So
So,
how
it's
many
not
locations?
franchised. I own all of them. I think we're at 10 or 12.
10 or 12
Wow.
locations.
Yeah.
And so you're not teaching at all of those.
No, I started off before I had my kids teaching all the classes, and then just built it
And
up.
built it.
Right.
Okay, so tell us a little about your dance background and how you got into that, because I just love watching, because being a dancer has a life, a shelf life. I mean,
does.
you know that you have to finally get real and go. My body can only do so much, and so some people leave it, and other people decide to do something where they can pass on, which is what you've done,
Right.
all of your fun and knowledge and ideas and creativity, and teach other people to
Right.
start out on their path with it. So
Right.
so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it didn't. I opened it. Gosh, I think 8 years ago. It was
Okay.
before I ever got pregnant with my girls, and it really. I was in corporate before that, and I traveled all over the place. And my husband and I kind of sat down before we got married, and it was like, okay, his expectations were, I really want somebody that's present with our kids, and how are we going to do this? I mean, we live in one of the most expensive cities I think around. I mean, Irvine is not cheap. And so I said, well, I kind of know how to dance. I mean, I've got some pretty good credibility behind my dance background and things like that. And he has a USC business degree. And between the two of us, we kind of put it down, put pen to paper. And, I just kind of started off just, I programmed everything myself. I built it up. I mean, from, just basic classes to sort of niche classes, and started off with a couple here and there. And then
What kind of classes was it? Ballet,
it's
tap,
mostly
jazz,
like
hip hop?
tap, jazz, ballet, hip hop, just your standard stuff.
For children or adults or
For
both?
children. Well, I also did adult fitness for a while. So I kind of was doing everything. I was teaching, in the morning, and then coming back and teaching once the kids were out of school from 3:30 until like 8 o'clock at night, which the 6 and 7 o'clock slot were my adult fitness classes back to back. So that just kind of grew and grew. And the next thing you know, I got one location over in Irvine where there's tons of kids. I mean, people move there because they want their kids
Sure.
educated in a certain way. And it just blew up. And once that happened, everybody wanted me. So
Wow, that's great
it.
news.
But the thing, and it was great. But the thing is, that all happened like the week that I had my twins. So
Oh, wow.
I
Oh, my
was in the
God.
hospital. I mean, they were C-section because they were twins, and I'm recovering, and everything. And I remember the nurse walking in. She's like, "Do you for real have your laptop on?" I said, "Yes, I do.
Oh my gosh.
This has to be done." Because at that time, I had nobody working. Well, I had
Sure.
instructors, but I didn't have an assistant.
So where did you get your dance training? Where did you study?
I studied at a dance school in Orange growing up. I'm an Orange County native, and then I kind of took a break in college. I studied overseas a couple times and wanted to do some other things and graduate as quickly as I could. And then after that, somebody approached me to audition for the NFL. And so I went and I did that.
How long did you do that for?
I did it for a couple of years. I probably would have stayed 4 if I hadn't moved back after 9/11 happened. I just really kind of decided I wanted
You
to
were
move
an
back.
NFL cheerleader for what team?
For the Carolina Panthers.
Wow.
In Charlotte, North Carolina.
That was
Yeah.
a common bond between you and Eddie coming from Carolina.
It was. I think that's what sealed the deal with me and Eddie. Yeah. Our love
So
affair.
what was it like being an NFL cheerleader? Was it super, super fun? Was it a lot of work?
If anybody's ever seen that Dallas Cowboy making the squad, I think it's on CMT, it's exactly like that. It's basically, it's a ton of work. You have to look perfect all the time. You have a certain way that you have to present yourself in public. And quite honestly, I mean, I learned a lot. I mean, I was 25 to 27 when I was on the team, and just, I mean, you're interacting. It's not just you're on the field. I mean, you're interacting with executives and you're doing charity events and you're in front of a lot of very wealthy people. And especially in Charlotte, it's a very tight knit. It's like the small, big city, right? Or big, small city or whatnot. And so we really, anywhere we went, people knew who we were. So I took that role very seriously. I felt very honored to be allowed to be on that team. So the staff really liked me because they knew that I took it seriously. And they knew I was very responsible, and they never had to worry about me, falling down drunk in public somewhere. Right.
It sounds like, just from your background from a cheerleader and dance, which is both can be very competitive, and both can be very much focused on the physical attributes.
Yes.
And it seems like you've done like a whole turnaround in focusing on kindness and compassion now. And I know a lot of it was inspired by the twinsies.
Yeah.
But was there something else? I mean, besides your one of the little twins, was there something else? Because this is a radical change coming from.
It is.
I mean, I know because I've flirted with ballroom dancing, and they make and the ballroom dancing in person makes Dancing with the Stars look like crumb cake,
right?
Because they really get dressed up and they really do it.
Right.
So I know how much the physicality is there, and I know how much the physicality is in cheerleading, and that's the physical attributes, and it can be very competitive. And I'm now thinking, here you are promoting kindness and smiles, and so what was it? Was there something else?
I don't know if it was anything that I can just tangibly say like this is what it was. I think it's just a culmination of a lot of things. Growing up, I had a really great life growing up, and suddenly at 14, my parents split, and I was kind of on my own, and it was really devastating. There was a lot of things that went on there, and I really kind of truly was on my own, and so I think there was some, and just different things that happened in my life, in college and things like that during college that definitely kind of threw me into a little bit of a depression at certain points, which I think I discussed in the Robin Williams in that blog post, which is something that my husband was floored that I wrote, by the way, because nobody knows that about me. And I just feel like, then I had my girls, and it was very stressful, having a business, and my husband works all the way up in LA every day, and we're both very busy. And then it was like when they got a little bit older, and we knew Raquel was going to have heart surgery, but the way that it happened, it was very sudden. And we were, of course, incredibly scared because her lungs filled with blood. And it was like, the doctor called me on a Saturday night on her cell phone. I mean, that's
a big deal.
That's a big deal. Yeah. And so that kind of took us by surprise. And I just think it was we kind of came through all these storms. I mean, I had 4 miscarriages before the girls, and I truly thought I was never going to have kids. Like, I was convinced that this was not going to happen, and my husband wanted kids more than anything, and it was just hard, and so once we came through the trenches of having twins and her heart surgery and everything, I just kind of made the decision that I don't want, I just want to be happy. Like, I don't want to sit around and listen to the moms that are gossiping about each other. I don't care about the people on reality shows that just talk about nonsense, that just pick at nonsense, and just all those little things that you hear people complain about. And I just learned to take a lot more with a grain of salt. And I mean, clearly, I'm not perfect, and we get way worked up about more things than I think I would now. And it was just a conscious decision to just start let things roll off my back a little bit more and just kind of focus on the positive stuff. And I started to really see, also with my dance company, you see how parents, how they affect their kids, how what they do trickles down. And I suddenly felt this responsibility to be a role model the best I could for my kids. And my husband's a great role model. He's that guy that everybody loves, and he's just super
Well, I was going to say, it
happy,
sounds
and
like you really do have a great partner in crime here. You
I'm
know?
very lucky.
And you guys met how long ago?
We've actually known each other since we were 12.
Oh, all right. So you've known each other since 12. Okay,
Yeah.
this is a good story. I want to know this. I want to know. We had Julie Furman on a couple weeks ago, who is the matchmaker. She's a
Oh, really?
professional matchmaker.
Oh,
so, and
fun.
I've known Julie for a long time, and I've been single that entire time of knowing her. So, so you've known him since you were a child?
We've known each other since we were in junior high, and actually he dated my best friend in junior high. And his big joke is that, like, because I had a huge crush on him when I was younger, and I made the biggest mistake of telling him this, right? And his ego just shot through the roof. I mean, and I'm talking like, when we were older, once we were married, I told him that. So now he tells everybody that it was my master plan in life, that all this time everything has been geared back to
Let him
getting
believe
with
that. It's
him.
okay. We know different.
Right.
We know different.
So anyway,
But for him, it was perfect timing. That's what it was for him.
That's right.
Yes.
It was perfect timing, and it was at our 10-year reunion, actually.
Oh,
I had just moved back,
right.
and he had been in relationships. I had been in relationships, and we just moved back, and
And you're married for how long now?
we got married in 2006. So what is that? Almost 8 years? 7? I can't even count right now.
Yeah, it's 8 years. 8
Yeah.
years. Wow.
Well, that's a great story.
Yeah.
I love hearing that.
And I love the fact that the two of you as a team, he took his business sense and said, what are your talents? And you guys coupled your
Yes.
your brains. That's
It was strategic.
really, really.
With your dance company, it seems like he's helping you with Infinite Smile too.
He is. I mean, he loves the idea. He loves the concept. The only thing he doesn't like is he just doesn't want me to overstretch myself, because I have the tendency to do that.
Right.
So
You've
he
got to
just-
take time for you.
Right. He just
Or it
wants to
won't
make
be an
sure-
infinite smile. It'll be an infinite grin.
Exactly. Whereas from my perspective, I say, okay, it's going to be a lot of work right now, but think about this, when if this works, and if this works the way I have the passion that I think it can work,
Right.
then think about how we can involve our kids as they grow up, and what amazing adults they will be. What amazing
Yes.
teens and amazing adults they will be if every time I have to go out and do one of these charity events, or every time we go out and pull one of these events together, or go to these schools or do these things, if our kids are brought up in that, it will completely change from like a DNA level, like a molecular level, like how they respond to everything in life. And to me, that's the exciting part. That's what drives me to do it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you said that every time, like you shared that just your own children are learning about, like, they get to give, and they love that joy, like their birthday presents. They gave it to Children's Hospital.
They did.
And you loved, and you said just the people you meet. So it seems like this is like the fuel that inspires you a lot. Is the
Well,
what
that's
you
a really
see.
good story. First of all, can I show the picture of your kids?
Yes. Yes.
I just want to show these are the girls,
Raquel's
the
on the
twinsies.
left. Yeah.
Raquel and
Adriana.
And
And
Adriana.
Raquel was the one that had the heart surgery.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. So these are the girls, and share the story that you shared with us the other day about how they gave their presents away.
So,
Because
they,
that's something most children. I'm sorry, as an adult,
Yeah.
I might even have a.
people thought I was crazy.
And you wrote, I love your blog title. Happy birthday! Now give me your gifts.
No, give me all your gifts. Yes, and that's pretty much how it was. We had a party for them, and they sat down and they opened their gifts, and we said, you're not keeping them, right? And they're like, okay, because we'd already had to talk about this, but we just, and a lot of my friends and people thought I was nuts. Like, you don't have a birthday party for 4-year-olds. They're 4, and give them all these presents and then say, you can't keep any of them. And I said, oh, yes, I can, because there is nothing these
But
children
they got
need.
to keep one.
They did get to go through
Yes.
and pick one,
Yes.
and then the family gifts. So what their cousin gave them, and what grandma and grandpa and that kind of stuff they gave them. All we gave them were their big kid beds. We're
Yes.
like, you don't need anything. So and they were okay with it. The only thing they wanted to make sure was that they got to go and take them to the hospital with me, and they couldn't because I had a meeting with one of the people in child development, and kids can't come onto those floors, but because of germs.
For germs, yeah.
And one
Yeah.
thing that you, when you told the story and you had mentioned many times, is that one of the things that you're targeting is young children, because you said, I think you learned that by the age of 5, this is when the character attributes get really instilled, whatever
Correct.
they may be. And right now, you're instilling the character attribute of kindness and compassion. And
That's correct. I've read that. I've read that several times.
Well, and
that-
generosity.
by
I mean,
5.
that's a biggie. It's to be generous.
Yeah. And then and that's kind of what the book is about too, is it shows that you get more out of giving than you do receiving. That it's the happiness you give and just the things that aren't tangible that actually bring the most joy to you. But you have to experience to understand it.
Right.
And I think that's with my kids. Like I'm trying to get them to experience this over and over again. And now it's like a drug to them. They just, they want to do it all the time. I mean, they have our nanny call me and say, there's somebody at the park and they're by themselves and they're new to town. They don't know anybody. Can you bring a wand? And my nanny has to come and be like, the girls want you to bring 2 wands down here, one for this little boy and one for his older sister.
That's
Okay. So I got to
wonderful.
drive down. I work from home with the dance business, so I have to drive down and give them the wand and then come back and
Oh, but it's
thank
cute.
you, Mama. And then they give it to the
That's
kid.
great.
So the wands, the wands are the interactive tool that works with the book.
Right.
And then, and the book, just so that people will know, when you launch it, the book comes with 2 wands.
Correct.
So one wand the child will keep, the other one they'll give away.
Correct.
And the book and the 2 wands, you said, will cost around $19.99.
That's
or so.
kind of our target price, right?
So that's like the profit. But you also have another thing on your website, which I thought was a great thing, is you have lots of events and activities
Yes.
that people can just do without having to buy the book. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because they look like fun, the events that you're doing.
We do several different things, and there's different segments on the website. And one segment that is interactive from the context of anybody could submit something to us, and then as long as it's legitimate, we'll put it on the map. But we also have a map that
And you can submit a charitable
right, it's like some organization that they are involved in, or
event.
correct, or event or something like that. And we'll put it. We have a map of the United States, or it could even be the world, essentially, for once the wands start getting involved. But it'll show like, here is this organization. It is located in such and such place in Orange County. These are the ages that can participate here, and this is what they're looking for, X, Y, and Z. And then you can link to their website, you can call them, find out more about them, whatnot. Because one of the biggest complaints as I was researching things out is that parents would say, well, sure, I want my kids to do more philanthropic things and get more involved in charity, but I'm not going to take them to a soup kitchen down in LA without knowing what, kind of what's there. So, it's just kind of like, it was too much of an effort for a busy parent to kind of put that work into it. So what we're doing is we're doing that for them and saying, if you go to the website, we'll give you the locations and the things you can get involved in. You can click in your area. You can see what's there. People can submit them from all over the country. As long as it's legitimate, we'll add it to the map. In addition to that, on the blog, we have clearly some more serious blog posts, kind of like the Robin Williams death and depression. And I've got one coming out, I think, tomorrow that talks about the Ice Bucket Challenge and really what I feel like that's all about, and on a deeper level. But then we also do blog posts like through the summer, and we incorporate this into our camps as well, Summer of Kindness. So each week, as the kids were learning about kindness and had a kindness like bucket list and stuff, in camp, we also posted a project they could do at the beginning of the week, like how to turn a play date into a food donation.
So this was a camp
Right.
that that your kids went to, or
This is, through my dance company, we do camps in the summertime.
Oh, okay.
So those kids, we incorporated a lot of this kindness, the projects into the camp.
the dance company camps.
Correct.
I love that.
Now on Infinite Smile, I keep it very separate, but I
Right.
kind of, I didn't really advertise Infinite Smile, but I put the concepts in there.
Sure.
And I didn't expect some of the reactions I got. I got moms that knew people that knew media that called me.
People are looking for a leader, and they
Yes.
want to do good, but they don't know how to be
They
the
don't know
leader.
how.
So that's when you step up and be the leader. The resources that unfold are infinite.
And I love it with children, especially.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
we had moms in
It's
tears
just-
at the end of
yes.
camp because of how it touched them, because their older child was being bullied, and finally somebody is doing something to really get their kids' hands in it and understand at a younger age try and avert that, try and
Right.
change that pattern.
Well, and you say we a lot, and I want to just have you explain a little bit. You do have people who are volunteering to work with you to make the Infinite Smile Project happen. Is that right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I and they've all kind of come to me and said, I want to do this.
Right.
So
you do have a group, because sometimes I think what happens when people have an idea and they really want to do it, and then they think about how overwhelming it is.
It's extremely
and
overwhelming.
so sometimes I think, well, we want to hear that you didn't do everything single-handedly. You were a very smart and wise delegator, and saw that there's people who want to be of service and
Right.
want to be a part of something bigger and greater. And when you open up your arms to that, you had a lot of your needs met.
I did, and a lot of the people that came that just wanted to help were my instructors to begin with, because they're all young, fairly recently out of college for the most part, like mid to late 20s. And that's that generation. They're very involved in charity. They're very involved in giving back. So that's where initially it came from. Now that we're on, 3,000 something on Instagram, I get random emails from people just saying, what can I do? How can I help? Once everything is completely settled with the nonprofit, I mean, of course, I'll probably be the CEO, and then we'll have, we're looking at other people to actually have,
Sure.
positions within the nonprofit and make it a little bit more organized, because it's extremely overwhelming. I'm up till probably 1 or sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And my kids are up at 6. I mean, I'm exhausted.
And
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're
But-
building a community here, really.
Yeah.
And I was thinking online too, when people go online just to check the events, that's another community aspect of it, of just being able to say to you, thanks to your post about this, I was able to volunteer here.
Exactly. Right. And, and we're also setting up different events, like you said, like we do. We're like right now we're stuffing backpacks for the homeless, and on a date we're going to go into LA and we're going to hand those out to them. I mean, of course, not with the kids in that case, but they help us stuff them. They help us gather the stuff. We're doing the same thing with backpacks, but with kids that need school supplies. So we're in the process of that right now. And I mean, all kinds of stuff. We're starting to work with Wounded Warrior, and we're going to start gathering
yeah, you
some
can
things for
probably
them.
align with other companies.
Oh, yeah.
And other nonprofits.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that's come up. I don't know if you remember, but there was a little boy, what was it, a Volkswagen or a Chrysler commercial, and he was Darth Vader. It was a huge Super Bowl commercial.
Yes.
I met with another guy who owns a charity whose daughter passed away from cancer last week, and he said, you really need to get to know her. And he said, she's local here in Orange County. And I knew of him because he had open heart surgery as well. So I knew his story
Oh,
because
you the little boy that is
the
the
little boy
actor?
that was the actor
He had open heart
He
surgery.
did. He had a congenital heart disease or defect as well. And so this guy, Eric Reese from the Jesse Reese Foundation, said, you two need to collaborate because you might be able to really kind of help one another. And so, I just got an email from her before I was waiting to come on the show that said, let's set up something up. Let's do this. And, kind of talk and see how we can help each other. But that's the other thing that just has changed my life, is just meeting the different people from the different charities and what people can accomplish. And as bad as this sounds, many times it's been out of tragedy.
Oh,
A lot
I
of
know.
times it's been out of tragedy. But the things that these people have overcome and done blows my mind. Because it drives them. It drives them
People
to
want
do
to hear
something.
the strength of the human spirit
Yes,
because
yes.
it just
It's incredible.
and
these people
everybody
I've
who's
met.
had strength of spirit has had moments in their journey that was very dark, and it's not always been sitting on the white horse and forging forward.
Right.
You need the inspiration.
Right, you do.
That's the
And-
polishing. That's the polishing of the gem. It's like it's all this friction and
Right.
challenges, but it really polishes. And this is what it seems like you've definitely taken this to heart.
I have taken it to heart because I saw the change in my kids, and I just felt like I don't want to send my kids to school when there's school shootings and there's this epidemic of bullying and all these things. And my personal opinion is I don't think the school shootings are going to get any better. Personally, I don't. And it's
I
not
think
that
they
I wanna
will with Infinite Smile.
But I was just going to say, I think we're targeting the wrong thing. And I'm not an expert,
Yes.
but I just believe that the way that it's being handled now, like, okay, well, you do, I don't know, like the metal detectors and this and that, whatever, and all the drugs that they're giving
That's
kids
right.
and all that,
No,
all that
get
jargon,
in there and talk to their
right?
heart.
And
You got to
yes.
change their mindset from a very young age.
Yes.
These are not the bullies that are going and doing this at the schools. They are
That's
the kids that feel ostracized.
And what you're talking about is so powerful because this is why I love this. This is the power that you're bringing. I remember years ago, I'm talking maybe 30 years ago, I think in Irvine even, I heard Marianne Williamson speak to a small
Oh, I
group
know
of
she is.
women. It was
Right.
like maybe 30 of them. And 30 years ago, this was like way before 211, maybe 35 years ago. And she said, there's going to be a day where a man in a designer Armani suit or something is going to come off an airplane at LAX, look very dignified, just have a briefcase, and you're never going to know that he walked off that airplane with a whole bunch of biochemical weapons that he can just release. So what's going to stop him? We can't build it. We can't build anything to defend ourselves big enough or vast enough. What can defend it? And she says the only thing is love.
Yeah.
And it's really true. And this is what I'm thinking of, is that this is all the bullying you can do. There's the only way you can get to that bullying is to love that person. And this is what you're really teaching. And I love this. I just really, I love that this is your mission.
Thank you. And it is really for the kids, but it's also, but I mean, truly, if you look at it from a customer perspective, not that a nonprofit has a customer, if you're looking at who's your direct market, it's the parents, because the parents have to drive this,
Of course.
and not every parent will want to do that. But then it's like, if it's power in numbers, right? So if you've got all these kids that are reaching their hands out to one another and doing these things, and other parents that are, and their teachers are, and their coaches are, and these people that mentor them, it's that same thing that everybody wants to be a part of it. So maybe the parents that, have their own thing going on where they're not doing this for their child, that child's going to be included in it because those other kids will reach out to them and include them. Even just like I think the post I said I was going to do tomorrow about the bucket challenge. One of the pictures we put up on Instagram, something about spreading kindness, and talked about like what the ALS bucket challenge has done. And somebody said, well, I don't think that's a good example. This is a response on Instagram. I don't think that's a good example because some people aren't donating. And I said, I agree. Some people are just doing it. And I don't like the fact that, okay, I'm going to dump water over my head to avoid giving the money. However, look at it from the standpoint of this money's coming from somewhere. They've raised, what did I forget, I wrote huge amount. I mean, what was it, 88 million?
Yes.
I mean, it was like, when I looked up the number today to put it on the blog post, I could not believe it. And that is funny, coming from this, and it's awareness. And
I didn't know that it was either or. Okay, so like I didn't even know it was the ALS challenge because we were doing it with my company for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So I didn't know that's the first time I saw it was Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So and I didn't know it was an either or thing. I just thought, seriously, pour water on myself and give $100? Okay, fine. But like I thought it was hilarious. Like but I love this whole ice bucket challenge. I think it's fun, and I wish people would just stay positive about it because there's always these negative Nancys that want to just put a pin in the balloon, and I think it's hilarious. Okay, and I'm just going to say inappropriately, Margaret Cho has the most inappropriate ice water challenge.
I'll have to look it up.
And you have to look at it, and it's hilarious. And I couldn't speak afterwards. I was like, I don't even know. She's crazy. I love her.
Well, and that's the thing is, and that's kind of what the blog post is about. And that was my response to this person is you can't deny the fact that even if, you've got people on there that are doing it just to say, oh, okay, I'm not going to pay the $100. People are, whether they're doing it or not, and it's the awareness.
Yes.
And you have to look at the bigger picture that it didn't even come from the ALS organization. It came from somebody that wanted to raise money and raise awareness. And that was a peer-to-peer directive.
Absolutely. That's it.
That actually, that combined with social media, just spread like wildfire. And it, as somebody who's starting a nonprofit, and I go through all this in the blog post tomorrow, it just boggles my mind. And it's the most amazing thing to watch. There is nobody in this country you could ask and say, the Ice Bucket Challenge, and they would say, huh? I mean, everybody knows what this is.
George Bush called out
weeks.
Clinton. Did you see that?
No.
George Bush. It was really funny. And I'm going to say, we do not talk politics on the show, okay? We're not a politics show. But, not my favorite person, all right? But I had the biggest smile. It was so funny. And his wife poured it on his head. And Laura, they were just darling together. And it made me have an infinite smile. I have to say, I'm smiling talking about it, thinking of those firemen or the Foo Fighters. Did you see that one where they all sat down and they had like a fire truck drive past all of them with the water shooting out and nailing them all in the back? I mean, everyone's having a really good time. And Leo DiCaprio today called out David Beckham. That was a really good one.
That's a good one.
So it's just, he's donating more than $100.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
That's the whole idea. I think that when you have a fun idea, and I think that, these wands are just fun. They're like, you look at them and you have that image of something magical and fun,
right?
Which I just love. So, talking about magical and fun and all things good.
Oh, you want to ask her our fun question? We have to ask you our fun question because we're closing in on on the end of the show, but we have a few more minutes left. So go ahead. You ask the question.
So, if every time you walked into a room, a theme song played, what would that theme song be for you?
Well, it would have to be U2 because I'm in love with Bono. He is like, oh, yes, Beautiful Day. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one. And see, I get flustered talking about him. It's a problem.
I know.
Really
well, we love him because he just represents all things.
My heart is a blue.
sexy, masculine, generous, kind. We don't know, you know.
Infinitely good.
Infinitely good.
I'm thinking, maybe someday the project will get big enough that I'll get to, I'll get a shout out from
That's
Donna
your
at some
that's
point.
your wish.
Sure,
That's my-
your, okay.
that's my
wish.
So if you had a wish that, like right now, something that could take this project to the next level in the next month, and one for in a year down the line, what would it be?
It would just be awareness for this. I mean, it would just be to get it out there, get more people involved. It's power in numbers. Look what's
So
been
how
done
many?
with the
Okay,
ALS
so let's
challenge.
look at let's go for a number. So in a year, how many books would you like to see fly off the shelves?
Oh, if I had my way,
Yeah, your way.
100,000.
100,000. Okay, so 100,000. So we're gonna
100,000
know that
books.
for you.
What will that fuel in charitable giving?
Well, it alone in charitable giving, just for the dollar that's given back to the different charities, 100,000. Because every $1 of every book goes to a charity that the child picks that's connected to a character in the book. So the child is empowered to select and click on the website where they want that dollar
Now,
donated.
does that character have any association with the character that is compassionate? Would that character represent the American Heart Association?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
We're just kind of looking at ones that we like, that we want to highlight. Now with the kids kindness contest, where they create that last character, that's
Yes.
same thing that's launching
Which
on the
is on
22nd,
your blog now.
which is on our blog, and we're also giving away tons of prizes for moms
Yes,
and kids, and everything at least $100 if they just donate $20 that day.
Yes.
And anyway, they also, part of that, if they win, and it's not about the artistry, it's just about the idea of the character and what makes them amazing, is that that character has to champion a charity that the child chooses. Now, that child that wins the contest and wins $1,000 to their college fund, once that character is developed, that charity is what's going to be attached to that character. So that is going to be one that can raise a ton of money in its own right, based on our website when the book is launched.
I like that.
Yay.
Yeah. So there's a
What's
lot
the
in
age
it for the
group
kid.
What's the age group of that contest?
Anybody under 18.
Under 18. Okay.
I mean, sometimes I think the 4-year-olds may come up with the best stuff because it's so sincere. You never
So
know.
if you have something that you want our listeners for sure to take away from being on the show today,
Yes.
I mean, you said a lot of great stuff. What would you want people to really? What would support your project, and what do you want people to hear?
I would just encourage them just to try it, just to go to the website, sign up for the blog, connect to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is that you're connected to. Most people are. And if you're not, I just recommend, it's a public page, so you don't even really have to have a big account to do that. And just to try it, just to take a day and just do some acts of kindness that day, see the response that you get. It will change your life. And it sounds so cliche, but that's my takeaway, is I feel like if everybody tried this for one day, it would change their life.
And what is the age range for the book? I forgot
The
to
book,
ask you that.
the very first one will be probably about age 3 to 6 would probably be the prime age for it. If the Kickstarter goes well and we see there's a lot of interest in it, we'd probably start right away with another demographic and something a little bit different. And then the wands themselves, you can also purchase those separately, the wood wands, and just play the part of sending it around. And the goal is obviously to get it around the world and just see where it's going, and people take pictures and put it on Instagram. And
So,
there's a little bit of that going on right now.
I was saying to Sabrina, this is like a
Oh, yes.
a way more
Sophisticated.
Flat Stanley, but not really.
I
Do
never
you know
heard
the
of
Flat
Flat
Stanley?
Stanley.
Yeah, I remember Flat
But
Stanley.
much different. But
remember.
the outreach.
same-
You know what I
correct.
mean? To reach everybody.
And I was actually thinking about it when I was writing my blog post. In a way, it's almost kind of like the bucket challenge in a sense for kids, where it's like, I have this wand, and now I'm going to challenge my friend, and I'm going to write a little message to them, and I'm going to do something nice, and I'm sending it to you and asking you to do something nice, and you're going to send it to somebody else.
That's great.
Again, it's that peer-to-peer
I like that.
sort of challenge, and it never dawned on me until today, till I was writing the blog post. But when you think about it, it's kind of the same thing, but really geared for kids. But as an adult, I think it'd be kind of cool if I could send it around the world and see where it landed too.
I
so.
have adult ones because there are.
I can make adult
There
ones.
are unfortunately adult bullies too.
There
Aw.
are.
You know, so
Unfortunately, there
I
are.
think this would be great for an adult bully.
I think we see those people on the 405 freeway every day.
Yeah.
Ask
We
my husband;
do.
he'll tell you.
We do.
I think you could send one to each of your Orange County housewives.
Oh, let's not start. On them. Oh, we could go. We
Do you
whole
have
new
a
show
lot
on
of
them.
support from your friends?
I do. As much the sad thing is, I haven't really talked to very many of my friends recently because I've been so busy working on my job
hard.
in this. But
It's hard when we have our friends, like, look, we're the ones who signed on to for a project.
Right.
They are our friends because they are our friends, not
Right.
because they signed a secret agreement to get involved in every single one of our projects.
Right,
You know?
right.
And
Yeah.
so, you want your friends to be supportive, but you're probably getting a lot more support just from people who are truly actually interested in what it is.
Right. My friends are kind of, they're very supportive. I think they know that I'm kind of waiting for this launch, and then they know I'm coming for them. They know I'm coming for them and saying, all right, spread this to whoever you know, get it out there. Like, all I ask is just to make this spread like wildfire. You don't even have to donate the money if you don't want to. If you don't want to donate the money, just put it all over your Facebook, take it to your schools. I've given out some of the flyers already, and I have a lot of people that are teachers that are making it as homework projects, and I'm sending, other places I've lived in the country, I'm like, just take these to your kids' school. They're already back in school.
Oh, I think the schools are really going to jump on this. This is a
Yeah.
fun one. This is really fun.
Yeah,
So,
they're enjoying it already, just the teachers hearing about it, the meetings I've had.
well, we're like pretty much coming to the
Yeah.
end of our show. My
Hard to
goodness,
believe.
it's hard to believe.
by
This is
fast.
definitely fun, but it's Gratitude Tuesdays.
Gratitude Tuesday.
I love
So,
that.
I just want to mention one other thing. I think you can catch Kim every so often on as a co-host of Eddie's show.
Yes, yeah, they do invite me
Yes.
every once in a while to co-host
Yes.
their show.
Okay.
So Eddie Connors.
I don't know when Eddie's show
It's
is.
Tony
Friday.
Sweet shows Fridays.
Fridays.
is
Friday.
when we
It's
come
Tony's show, and then Eddie comes on the show
Right,
as
and
a
sometimes
co-host,
Kim
right?
will-
And sometimes
yes.
Kim will come on there. Next week,
Next week
We
we
have-
have Anthony Flynn of U Bar, and U Bar is custom-made nutrition bars, and he started as literally in his home, and it became so big that Vistaprint went, "What is this company?" And they did a commercial with him and his mother showing how they started this company. He has made media news, and now he wrote a book with his sister called Custom Nation. And I think it's so interesting because recently Coke has come out with all these customized Coke cans. And Anthony really saw that customization is the way
it's the
to
key.
go.
Customized
Yeah,
wine, everything. People
customized.
are doing it. Yeah.
So he's going to be
So he's our guest
talking-
next week.
Yes.
Sounds like
You
a good one.
you can go to ubar, and that's youbar.com. I think it's .com.
Yes.
Yeah, it's .com, and check out Anthony there, and
And Amazon.com for Custom Nation.
for Custom Nation,
Nation,
and buy
yes.
that book and get yourself familiar with Anthony. And so for Gratitude Tuesdays, Kim, what are you grateful for?
Well, my gratefulness is usually pretty simple these days. I'm just grateful for my kids, my family, and I do have an incredibly supportive husband. He's that husband that would rather spend time with me than with anybody else, and I think that's unfortunate. But so I'm very grateful for that and the support that I get, and just being able to live where I live in beautiful Southern California. I love it here. I'm doing a love story blog on California sometime soon.
Oh, I
here.
love that. That's great.
So that's what I'm grateful for. Very basic stuff.
Great. How about you?
I am grateful hearing Kim about, especially the children. I'm just so grateful that my mother really did teach me some things. I called it manners and courtesy, but she really also taught me early on about love. And it would be like, I hate someone. She goes, you can't. She goes, you're just made to love. And I go, no, there's a part of me that's really hateful. And she goes, no, there isn't. And I said, no, it's a tiny speck that you just can't see. She goes, no, you're all love. And, and I learned that when I was like, just really, I think in preschool. And it really has instilled within me, even when I sometimes definitely don't feel loving. I still hear that voice. No, you're all love.
And see, it started in preschool.
It was the first words I learned to speak were pretty much like, "You're a perfect child of God." And I said, "If I'm a perfect child of God, then why do you punish me?" She goes, "Well, your behavior is
right.
So I mean, so having
Smart
these,
mommy.
so having these values instilled when I was quite
Right.
young, it really has been for me the golden key in my life. And hearing you do this golden wand key that you're really giving parents and children, I'm very grateful.
Oh, thank you.
And I am, God, there's so many things to be grateful for. I'm going to say that I'm grateful for this show again, because the thing is that every single time we come here, it's like this classroom for us.
It
We get to
is.
meet incredible people with beautiful souls that show us a whole other way of spreading the
Yes.
message of joy and kindness and goodness, and also living your passion. And that's some of the fan mail that we've gotten, people who are finding that through the stories that are told on the show, how to reignite the passion in their lives. So So I would love to keep talking about gratitude, but we really got to go. So so join us next week when we have on Anthony. Is it Anthony Flynn?
Anthony Flynn.
Anthony Flynn.
And you bar.
And thank you so much.
You are the
Join
highest
us on
bar.
Facebook. Join us on Twitter. Send us an email, and we can't wait to see you next week. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Thank you.